Everybody, happy Monday, and welcome back, welcome here. Anybody online for the first time? I think everybody else. Okay. So this is our second class in the meditation module of Discovering Buddhism. And first we're going to start this one with setting our intention, and we're going to do that through the prayer that Linda's going to lead. So this will help. I mean, we talked last week about how the most important thing is our intention even before any action, whether it's working out at the gym or doing something much more virtuous, engaging in this kind of study. And so we start by thinking of what your personal goal is for coming here. If you're just wanting more information, if you're wanting to relax, if you're wanting to calm your mind, and then how as you achieve and move towards these goals, how other people are affected when you calm your mind, when you become wiser, when you become more mindful. So in that way we expand our motivation to include more and more people if possible, as many as you can, all the way to where you are achieving complete and perfect enlightenment for their sake. All right, and then what page, Linda, for people?
So page 34, if you're in the Kadampa.
Yeah.
I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings.
Okay. So I'm going to start us off with meditation. We talked a little bit last week about meditating on the actual nature of mind. So we're going to move to that one. We're going to start with a 9-round breathing meditation, which I'll walk us through. And I'm going to do a really basic visualization with it, and then next week we'll do a little bit more elaborate one. But we talked also a lot last week about how busy our minds are, and something like this provides a structure for you to start to settle into a meditation. So first, check your posture. We went over all the points last time. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure your feet are on the floor, facing straight ahead. And the most important thing, again, is that your back is straight and relaxed at the same time as possible. Just check in with yourself physically. What do you maybe need to stretch first, or move, or realign? Check if your arms are away from your body, if you have your hands, you can put them in the mudra we talked about last week. Or if you prefer, just have your hands right on your thighs, making sure your arms are away, out from your body. Your chin is tucked just slightly so that your spine, your head at the top of your spine, isn't breaking that alignment. You can place your tongue at the back of your teeth and relax your jaw. With your eyes either completely closed or just lightly open so some light comes in and keeps you alert. You're going to focus on your breathing. And I'm going to walk us through this one round of the nine-round breathing meditation, and then you'll do 2 on your own. And then after that, you're just going to continue to focus on your breathing, and I'll walk us through another meditation. So hold on one second. Okay, so with your right hand, you're going to take your index finger, any finger really, and hold your left nostril so that you're inhaling through your right nostril. And you pause at the top of that breath, and then move your finger to the right nostril and exhale out of your left nostril. And again, pause at the bottom of that breath, and then again, inhale through your right nostril, and exhale through your left. And then one more time, and this time as you inhale, imagine pure, clean energy coming in, filling every cell in your body. And then when you exhale, imagine any tension, worry, extra thoughts, uncomfortableness, fatigue, exhaled out and away. And now you're going to do this on the opposite nostril. So you're going to inhale through your left nostril with that visualization. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale through your right nostril. And then again, inhale through your left nostril. And exhale all tension, worry, discomfort, extra thoughts out and away. And then one last time. And now you just put your hand in your lap and inhale through both nostrils, pure, clean, crystalline energy, and exhale through both nostrils, and do that 3 times. So that's one complete round. And now on your own, do 2 more rounds. Again, you're going to inhale through your right nostril, the first one, exhale through your left nostril, and then switch that after 3. So do 2 more rounds of that. And if you finish that third round, just keep your attention and your mind focused on the breath, on the sensations of breathing in and out. And as you do this, refresh your motivation for doing this meditation. Think, I'm going to do this meditation in order to work on my mind, to be a more positive, beneficial person for the world. May this meditation bring more peace and happiness to myself and others. So as you've refreshed this motivation, then bring your awareness back to the breathing, just being aware of the inhalation, exhalation. If you can, let your attention kind of float on the breath, similar to the way you would float on the surface of the ocean with gentle waves coming and going. Let them flow in and out, just letting your attention rest or float on the rhythm of the breath. Now move your attention away from the breathing to the mind itself, that which is aware of breathing. So instead of being aware of the breath, which is the object right now that we've tied our mind to, the object now is your own awareness, becoming aware of the mind itself. Last week we talked about how the mind can feel as powerful as an ocean, as vast, as limitless. So try to get a sense, if you can, of how your mind is like that. So that as a thought arises, it's like a wave rising up. You bring your attention to that wave, to that thought, and see if it will settle back into the nature of the ocean. Trying to release the thought, returning your awareness to the mind itself. So rather than following that wave or flowing with that wave, see if you can release it. See if it will settle back down. Just like our breaths have a pause at the top and the bottom of each breath, our thoughts often have a pause between arising. If you can identify that pause, that's where you can rest. So let's try that for the next several minutes. And gently come back. Open your eyes. So any thoughts or questions about meditating on the nature of mind and the clarity of mind itself?
And if you're online, you can either raise your hand or type it in the chat. If you're here in the Kadampa, just wait for the microphone.
Do you find it harder or easier than on the breath? It's definitely a challenging one, but if you can get a sense of it, it's very powerful. And with practice, the hope is that you can start to feel those thoughts coming and settling back down, and you'll just start to notice a rhythm of that. Of course, sometimes it's just like a whole bunch of skittering across the top. But if you can get a sense of how your mind is just naturally going to do that, then you're also less hard on yourself when thoughts arise. No matter how long you meditate, thoughts are going to arise. And so it's really being able to take notes of it, watch it, sometimes put a spotlight on it so that it will settle down and doesn't carry you away. So let's talk a little bit again about why we're doing all this. And I have a video clip to help, because I think I really love Robert Thurman's descriptions of things, and he has a really good reminder of why we're doing this, because mindfulness is wonderful, but as Venerable Rabina has said many times, even a thief needs mindfulness. So it's more like, what are you going to be mindful about? What are you training your mind towards? We talked last week about, and I talked to somebody else from the class in between about how important it is, first of all, to have a relaxed body in order to be able to do this. If your body is tense, it's going to, this is why we check in with our body, get our posture straight. Sometimes people need to move around. How the body and the mind, they're riding together. And so first doing that, taking care of what you need to do to be able to get into a meditative posture and focus. But, so it's like step by step, but what are these steps leading to? And that's a really important part of all of this. And this is why meditation is the second module in the whole series. So let's watch Robert Thurman describe.
There are a couple of, a question and a comment.
Great.
Online. So one student says, I like the idea of thoughts as waves and then settling them back into the greater ocean. Found meditating on mind more challenging than focusing on the breath only.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Those are different people, or?
No, same person. Two sentences, though.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, and another good visualization is, sometimes this really helps me if I'm getting sleepy, is the sky-like nature of the mind. So if it's the waves, or, you find which one works for you and at what point. I know also, I did this long meditation retreat, and there was a point during it where I was like, I don't think I can stay awake. I was really struggling with that. And then I decided to just watch myself feel tired. I don't know how to describe it other than just say that, but the mind that was just watching the sleepy mind, and everything changed. I don't know that I could repeat it, but everything changed, and I felt like I was in this completely blissed out state. I got bigger than the tired mind, and if that makes sense. So it was, you're just finding these different ways of working with all the different obstacles in our minds, so we can share what works for somebody might work again for you.
And then another student, different from last week's student, that was asking you this, is it okay to meditate laying down on your back if one has a strong pain in the low back when sitting down?
Yeah, yeah. You find, again, especially, there's going to be times in our lives as we get older where we're not going to be in an ideal posture to meditate. So we want to be able to meditate wherever we are. If we're hospitalized, if we're uncomfortable, if we're sick, remembering what the word meditation really means. And so now if we are able to sit in the 7-point posture and really do it that way, great. And then we can translate what we're learning there to other positions as need be. So yeah, if you're in pain, get into a position, hopefully, one where your back is as aligned as what I described. And and then focusing all your attention on your breath. Yeah. Yeah, any other, that was it? Anybody in here have a question or thought? Or we can pass out, it's maybe easier on chat. It's maybe easier to chat, right? Okay, good. That's great. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Sometimes I always tell people, if you're struggling with tiredness, which was my biggest problem, come sit up here and meditate. It'll kind of wake you up.
So I think John Kelly's on Zoom. If you cannot hear this, unmute yourself, John, and let me know.
I'm a little skeptical about meditation by itself, that's going to solve people's problems. I know a lot of people in the Buddhist movement and yoga and Hindu movement as well, and other kinds of mysticism, they act like, oh, if you meditate, everything will be fine and cool. And I don't actually agree with that, and the Buddhist tradition traditionally doesn't agree with that, actually. They say there's three, what really saves you from suffering, and what really brings you into proper relationship and compassionate living in the world, is wisdom. And wisdom means the knowledge of your own and the world's reality, and what they call selflessness or voidness. But voidness just means your relations, that you are completely related to everything in the world. It's actually the discovery of relativity, way ahead of Einstein, is what voidness really is, rather than some sort of blank state. And it means being, each relative thing is devoid of any absolute core, is what it means. So that means they're all interrelated, and you are all interrelated, and I'm interrelated, and that's what it means. Now, in order to achieve that wisdom, you do need meditation. But if the meditation is to enable you to achieve that wisdom and that compassion, it first has to be preceded by learning. You have to learn what's wrong with one's worldview, and why does one have a view that seems to fit with a view of being isolated from the world and separated from the world, and in opposition to the world, actually, in sort of stressful conflict with the world. What's wrong with that view? That's where the learning comes in. You get the teachings of the Buddha, the great masters, Nagarjuna, Sangha, and eventually the lamas and other great Buddhist masters also from other cultures. And once you learn that, then you have to critically reflect, and you have to doubt. You don't just believe what the teacher says. You have to doubt and think critically in your own mind, like in a discursive way, which is, you could call that a kind of meditation. You deeply think about the meaning of what you've learned, and you think about the disparity between what you've learned about your interconnectedness and what your previous idea is about your separateness, which is what most of the world's ideologies support, this delusional feeling of I'm separate and I'm more special than the world, which is the basis of egotism and of suffering. And so then you critically reflect. And then third, after you've done those two to a deep degree, when you meditate, this meditation will open you up, and you will open your mind to feeling your interconnectedness with the world in such a way that your compassion will be effective and in helping others, and your wisdom will be effective in helping you feel better, and you feel freer, and you feel happier. So that is where it's at, So in that light, the first thing and the last thing is connecting to other beings. If you just meditate, if you have a worldview, that the point of the meditating is to learn how to go into the silence, to get away from it all, to find a place of pure oneness where nobody's present. Some kind of nothingness, misunderstanding about emptiness means nothingness, and you're going to get to that, and then you'll all be peace and quiet in there. That's a kind of trap, actually, and from the Buddhist point of view, and that's an uncompassionate aim that is apart from the world. And the main thing is that even when you get to meditating, having learned, you are seeking this wisdom for everyone's sake as well as yours. That makes it a universal vehicle of bodhisattva activity. Your meditating is with a motive to do it for others, which gives you much more power in it and makes it a Mahayana meditation. And then, the more you are, the more you realize your true nature, the more you realize how interconnected you are with everyone, and you begin to feel their feelings, and you begin to feel, therefore, true compassion for them, equal to your compassion for yourself. And so, there really should be no dichotomy between being patiently, generously, justly, nonviolently connected to the problems in the world and working actively to help them, and meditating about that to be able to do that more effectively by being more wise. Those two things should be totally interconnected with each other. And, if there's a need to go out, to occupy some place, to draw attention of people to some people who are being abused, or some injustice, or if yourself is being abused injustice, go out there. But then if you find you're becoming angry out there, you're becoming impatient, intolerant of the other people, you're becoming frazzled too much, then withdraw, and then reflect about it, and meditate about it, and try to see the point of view even of the bad guys, and don't hate them, and don't be angry with them, but still try to bring their attention to what they're doing wrong and how that's going to affect them in the future. And you go back and forth in that way. That's how to do it. There's a French expression, reculer pour mieux sauter, which means you draw back in order to jump higher, or to jump better. And that's all meditation is, really, because we are totally interconnected with each other. We are all interwoven, relational beings. Never try to meditate as a way of getting away from things. You meditate in order to be more fully present to everything, and more, you seek wisdom in order to generate compassion. When you want to generate compassion, you then realize you need more wisdom.
So, if you want to find that later, is there a place that people go to find these things on Discovering Buddhism? Yeah. And you can just Google Robert Thurman, whatmeditationis.com. I didn't know if there was some place that...
Yeah, I can post it on the webpage for this module.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's super helpful and really pithy. It's 5 minutes, but there's a lot there. And it's just a good reminder of why we're meditating, that we need this flexible, focused, mindful state in order to place that focus that we're developing on topics that deepen our wisdom. So that's what we're really aiming for, is more wisdom. So we've been working a lot with focused meditation, but what we're really trying to do is develop wisdom and to be able to identify positive and negative mind states so that we can increase one and decrease the other. And actually, I think the focused meditation of watching a thought arise, for me at any rate, it helps me then be able to catch, like, when impatience arises. It's not foolproof, but it's just like when I started taking yoga when I was a kid from my mom. I started to notice that, when I felt tension arising, if it's already arisen, and then it's really hard. Now I might need somebody else to come in and give me a massage or whatever. But if I can catch it as it's happening, I'm more able to work with it and apply antidotes, for a physical issue, but also mentally when I'm getting stressed or impatient. I go, here it's coming, I'm getting impatient, and it subsides. So they can translate like that. That's why I've been talking a lot about watching your thoughts arise. And then maybe which one, I really want to work on that one. That one I will have some success with. So if you're thinking of something that you want to be able to, in your daily life, watch and try to catch before it arises, try to pick one that you're going to have some success with so that you don't get discouraged. Try to pick one that, because I remember doing this. Geshe had given a weekend teaching when he first came here on patience. And I thought, how is he going to talk for like 2 days about patience? What is there to say? Well, there's a lot to say. And it was a really good example of analytical meditation, because in Tibetan Buddhism, there's these lists. Here's all the disadvantages of anger, and we would go through each one. Here's the advantages of keeping your patience. It was just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then I got so excited about it, I couldn't wait for an opportunity to lose my patience so that I could apply this. I was so excited about it. And again, I thought, let me start with something I know that I can probably have some success with, which was my dog, because I loved my dog. And she would often wake me up at night. And sometimes I would lose my patience. And then what would happen is all the disadvantages that we'd just gone over in the class, which was like, it only really hurt me because then I couldn't get back to sleep. And, she'd already woken me up, all these things that we had gone through and done analytical meditations about. So then that night, my dog comes to wake me up, and I open my eyes and I say, here's the chance, So that's the kind of what you want in the beginning, to have some success with it. And she woke me up 2 or 3 times that night, and each time, I mean, it wasn't what I would have wanted her to do, but I also saw how easily I got back to sleep, all the benefits that we talk about. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but a little rah-rah meditation cheer. Okay, any questions from what Robert Thurman was talking about, or everybody good with that? Okay.
We did, I did post in the chat what the website is. It's
Okay.
whatmeditationreallyis.com.
Okay, and I don't know if they have a lot of stuff there or not, so, put in Robert Thurman's name if you want to hear that bit again. Yeah, because I think, and I mean, I know that I've been guilty of meditating to escape, and it doesn't work, first of all, but that the motivation, this is why we work so much with the motivation in the beginning, and I feel like what he's saying is just such a short, condensed, perfect explanation of why we are doing this, what we're trying to achieve, and how powerful it is to combine the 2 types of meditation, which we're going to be doing more and more of. So last time we also talked about, using an object of focus, and somebody in here tried their car. And so here's the reason why you wouldn't do that long term. It's a good, you can use anything, and in some traditions, and not Buddhist traditions, but in some people who are focusing on meditation, they'll use a rock or a flower or a candle, and they might keep their eyes open. But we don't want to necessarily rely just on our eyes, so that's why we're not going to keep our eyes open. And you're putting all of your attention on something. And so in Buddhism, we talk a lot about, cause and effect. And you're spending all this time kind of memorizing. If you were going to meditate on your glasses, you're spending all this time memorizing it, and then trying to call up that image in a focused meditation, in a single-pointed meditation. So therefore, why not put all of your mind and your attention on something as virtuous and holy as possible? So that's going to be different for different people. In Tibetan Buddhism, it would be the image of the Buddha, or I use this photograph of the Dalai Lama that Geshe-la gave me. So then you're just going to memorize as much as you possibly can about that, and then close your eyes and try to bring that image to your mind's eye and watch what happens. It's such a good reality check of where your mind is. And if you're really interested in that, then the Lam Rim has all this detailed explanation of that practice and all the different. I remember when I first read it, I thought, oh my goodness, there's like 20 different descriptions of how you'll see it, like patchy vision and all these different kinds of things. And I thought, I don't know that that's really all that necessary to just describe all of that. But then when you get into it, you see, oh, it's so helpful, because then you'll see your own, what's going on for yourself very much fits those descriptions. And you won't feel as bad either, that you're not able to do it 100%. You're like, oh, at least I'm doing patchy. I'm doing patchy vision of this, that's better than no vision of this. So anyway, I really encourage you, if you're interested in single-pointed meditation, there's lots of information out there, and the Lam Rim, if you have a copy of the Lam Rim, there's detailed description on that, or you can let me know, and I'll try to get you some more information. So I want us to I'm going to lead us through a guided meditation on a topic, so that you can just have that experience for anybody who's doing this for the first time. And I'll lead you through one of my favorite meditations, because I think you'll have some success with it. And that's what I want. Because, as I said last week, in my work, people ask all the time how they can change this issue they're dealing with, this problem they're dealing with. And my answer is to have some success. And so you start small and build. And I was just reading something today that Lama Yeshe, who's I don't know if you say the founder, but founder of the FPMT, which we talked about last week. So one of the things he would tell new meditators is, we're not mushrooms, which means like mushrooms grow overnight often, that these kinds of things take time. And so to have patience and to pace yourself and to encourage yourself, find ways to encourage yourself. All right, so this meditation, first I want you to think of something, and then we'll get into a posture and check our posture and our body and our breath and all that. But we're gonna focus a little bit on impermanence. And we're gonna do that through, first, I want you to think of any idea that you currently have about anything. Could be something big like religion, something political, something personal. What you're going to do is I'm going to ask you to go back in time and see all the iterations of this idea that you've had. So you're going to see how impermanent things are. So pick one thing for now. Really, it could be anything. Is anybody having trouble coming up with one? I can just give you one if you're not. Okay. All right, so check your posture. Make sure you're in all the different points that we talked about. Make sure you're comfortable. If you need to stretch or yawn or work out a kink, go ahead and do that. And just refresh your motivation, starting with yourself and how more wisdom, more awareness, the better you are for yourself and for all those around you, those you know, those you don't know, those you'll come to know, how the ramifications of your wish and your accomplishing your goals is beyond imagination. It's powerful. So then with that in mind, I want you to bring your awareness to this idea that you have. Just take a look at it, inside out, where it is right now, this day, your concept, your understanding, your feelings about this issue, this topic. Just walk all around it and take a good look. What stirs it up? What brings it to mind? Then I want you to go back in time 6 months, so half a year ago. How are you feeling about this topic? Again, take a good look at it. What was coming up for you half a year ago? Now go back a full year. So last winter, what was going on? What were you thinking or feeling about this topic, this concept, this idea? What experiences contributed to it? Now go backward to 2020. Again, what were you thinking about this then? How are you feeling about it? What was happening around it? I want you to keep going backwards in time with this as far as you want, as far as you can. Just stopping along the way to really take a look at what was getting stirred up, what your thoughts and feelings were at different points in your life. Slowly taking a good look at it. Events around it, conversations, feelings, memories. And once you've gone back as far as you can, then come back to the present moment. Kind of compare the beginning that you were able to touch with right now. And then imagine going forward to next February, 2026, and how you might feel, you might think, experience this concept, this issue. How you would want to, what would contribute to that. What could you contribute to it? Go forward another year. Go forward as far as you would like on this river of your own consciousness in time, stopping along the way to imagine all that might surround this idea, this feeling, this experience. And then come back to the present moment. Now, what I'd like to do for just 5 to 10 minutes is get people in groups of like 3 just to talk over so you can hear what other people experienced or ask questions. Can you do that with them? Okay. And then can you be in a group? Okay, yeah. All right, so just turn around, go find a couple of other people, introduce yourselves, and talk over what that was like. If you spaced out, that's fine. Tell people that.
If you are on Zoom, I'm going to put you in breakout rooms together.
Okay, thank you everybody in advance.
If you're on YouTube, you'll just have to be a little patient with us.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, just take notes. Take notes for yourself. And Linda. So they're in groups of 3?
Well, it added YouTube. So there's 3 and then 2 and then 2.
It added me?
Yeah.
It's my voice?
No.
Oh, no, okay. Good. I'm not sure.
So 3, 2, 2. Okay. And then, you didn't join in the Spanish speaking one.
So how do you think you think it's okay for them? Just really helps.
Oh, no, really? Yeah, it's like a possible sign.
You know, and it's so much easier. And then, you have this oh, between the two, I think it's coming on with their mom. I think it's there were a couple times where we very successfully do that. Shared that in class. I went home and I'm like, I told my daughter, because my daughter was very good. Sometimes you're still out the way, but it's a lot of times. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She'll be here.
It's so interesting, really, about something. Because you and I. You know, and then I'm already apologizing. Let me just say, I'm sorry. I'm not because already I think I'm not respect. You know,
A lot of people don't do it. It's very good.
I went to my house. Then I lost because the only when you close the rooms, they have like 1 minute. You don't need to. Yeah, let's take a minute to wrap up. So yeah, maybe if you tell people they got a minute.
We have 1 more minute.
So I think if you close it, then they'll, okay. Okay. Oh, I see. You have multiple people too. How many people are on YouTube? How many are? Okay. Yeah, a lot, yeah. Yeah.
I've written up a thing that's on their homepage, like, if you wanna participate, come in person.
Yeah.
Second blood test is to join on Zoom. Third is just, it's gonna be completely
Right. It's just so different because it used to be so crowded for DB. You know, it used to be like really crowded on DB nights, you know. So Geshe will say, how many people are there? I'm like, I don't know because I didn't count them, but I was like 10 here, you know. All right. Thank you all for doing that. Was that helpful? You know, I always like for people to have a chance to talk to each other and hear, because, you know, if we're doing it, otherwise you're just going to hear like one person's story. So was that helpful? Interesting? Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, all right. So I want to play this one video. A lot of you have seen, some of you here I know have probably seen the movie The Dhamma's Brother. Did anybody have a comment that I missed? Okay. The Dhamma Brothers. So I want to play the trailer of the movie, and you can definitely, I think it's for free now on YouTube, but it's an interesting, I'll let you watch the trailer to see. I think it's very motivational too as you're starting out your, getting into meditation to see this. It should say trailer, not that one. Yeah, that one. We might see the other one too if there's time. Oh, and share it. Yeah.
Life without parole doesn't mean that you're to be punished or worked or any of that. It means you're to be warehoused till you die.
From 6 months all the way up to death row, we have them all here.
Donaldson's a pretty dangerous place. Somebody being stabbed or killed is a common occurrence.
The violence here, this is a breeding ground.
There we were in Alabama, very Christian part of the country, and we were teaching the teachings of the Buddha.
It's a very regimented day, stricter than your normal prison schedule.
What is that? I don't want to go through that.
I thought, well, we're, going to waste some time here.
I've been through every course imaginable. A meditation course? Come on.
No one is telling them what to look at or how to change. They're gaining their insights within themselves.
I knew that I had to let things go, and I just let the tears roll. It felt good to cry. It had been quite some time.
It hit places in me that I didn't even know was there anymore. And after 16 years of being locked up in here, I wasn't sure there were any places like that.
You're in the Bible Belt. Now, if you came in and tried to teach against Christianity, it would become a real problem here.
They should have meditated before they done whatever they did to get in there.
People became threatened. These guys are turning inmates into Buddhists, so therefore you need to shut this thing down.
I take responsibility for my actions now. I did do that first.
Fake it till you make it. Is this something they can fake, help them make parole?
They're clearly grappling with feelings of revenge and hatred.
It helped me a lot. It humbled me a lot.
What's not to understand about compassion, love, and caring?
I got life without parole. I may not never get out of the penitentiary. And this is like a break from everything. This is like freedom.
I am proud of our group. I am so proud to call them my Dhamma brothers.
I didn't believe it was gonna work, but it worked. It really did.
So there's one more. Do you want to see it? There's another like 5-minute clip. And while Linda's doing that, what's really interesting to me, if you watch it too, this is definitely not an escape, because these men go through this 10-day course. I think it's like 10 hours a day. And there's another similar documentary called, I just forgot it. but it's set in India. This woman who was the warden did a meditation course there. And so what people are, that you face a lot on the cushion when you're sitting that long. And so this was not about getting away, it was actually them looking at things that were very uncomfortable in some ways, but also liberating in the end.
Well, one of the things that's happened since 2002, we've been able to run 19 10-day courses. We've had around 550 inmates graduate from the course, which is about a quarter of the population at Donaldson. We're in the process of creating a Vipassana dorm for the inmates. We're in the process of expanding the program to the women's facility at Tutwiler and also one of the men's medium security facility in Easterling.
It's really been so effective. You can see that individuals that go through the course, and we had some real rough ones, like Edward was a handful. For him to go through that course, and you can see the change. I mean, the humbleness. It was just amazing. It was really remarkable.
The change in the people who took the program were even noticeable to the administration, to where the warden would be able to say that when he walked down the hall, he could tell because they were more socialized in their interactions.
Prisons can empower people to deal with drugs and alcohol, to deal with conflict, to deal with anger much more effectively so that they don't hurt anybody, they don't hurt themselves, and they don't violate the law. It's completely doable.
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for all your letters. All right.
We've had a couple of people pass away from the original course. I'm also aware of one inmate who actually did get parole. They're in their sentence in the Chicago area now, and he's doing pretty good.
I'm married now, and I have the family that I wanted. Boy and a girl, children, and a wife. And we just bought a vehicle, and we're looking for a house. It's just working and trying to build more and more to where we're comfortable. Vipassana helps me to just set that course with a clear thought. And actually it's working pretty good, because in 3 years I've done everything that I've done. And so my future's kind of bright.
After a 5-year study with the University of Alabama, what we found was that the inmates who completed the Vipassana were better able to conduct themselves, were less angry, they were more mindful, they had an increased emotional intelligence. Most people incarcerated are going to be released. And do you want to release a person back into the community who's angry, or do you want to release somebody who has been re-socialized? And that's why treatment's important as that vehicle.
We have to remain committed to rehabilitation. We're going to be an evolved society, a mature society, a just society. Correctional facilities should be correctional. Not just because it's healthy for people incarcerated, but it's healthy for all of us.
I'm still meditating as much as I can. Vipassana is like a spring that I can go to and just refresh myself and cleanse myself. I'll go through a trying day, and I can go and meditate, and it clears everything up. I can just step myself out of the situation and then think about what it is that I'm doing and how I'm doing it and what is the best course to take. The Vipassana course really settled me.
I think that our very health turns on our ability to solve some of these complex problems, to think differently, about crime and punishment, human failure, than what our current laws reflect. And I think if we do that, there's a really hopeful way forward. It's not just my clients, not just the condemned, not just the Grady Bankett's of this world, but for all of us.
One of the things I like about this is it's like an instant, very condensed view of, and we're setting our motivation so that if I can achieve these things, the ripple effect. Well, here's some of the ripple effect right there, really easy to see. And there's much greater ripple effects, but I think it's a pretty powerful statement. So I just wanted to play that as a little encouragement, an appetizer. It never ceases to move me or inspire me. So one for homework, I guess this is for homework if you'd like. If you're curious about the meditation I've been talking about, where you're going to focus on and you're going to try to call to your mind's eye this image that you are meditating on, then find one. Find one. If it's you're going to meditate on an image of the Buddha, then find an image, because it's going to require that you really study that. So it's a statue or a image or something else, if that's your wish, and then we can talk about it next week, or you can use that when we do some meditation. So how does that sound? Okay, so that, and last week we had talked about looking at your daily life and something that you want to notice, something so that we talked about our meditations not just on the cushion, you're bringing it out into the world. So something that you do want to notice arising in you, a time that you might lose your patience more or space out more, or whatever it is that you want to work on, and where you're going to have some success with that. It's standing in line at the grocery store, driving, wherever it is. And that's what we'll share next week. Some stories of struggles and successes and bumps in the road on that. And we'll also talk about some other obstacles. Any thoughts or questions or comments or stories you want to share with each other, or anything?
Anything in here, anyone? And if you're online, of course, just raise your hand, type it in the chat.
Okay, so we're going to do a meditation on dedication first. And so first we're going to get in a comfortable position, and then after a minute or two, then I'll ask you to read the prayer. Okay. And it'll be on the screen for people, or? Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. All right, so get in a comfortable position, or refresh your posture and your motivation. As we talked about last week, the bookends of our day, but also a practice, also a meditation, are setting the motivation and then dedicating. And what are we dedicating? Well, we're dedicating the energy that we created by participating, by all of our thoughts, all of our energy, getting ourselves to the class. I mean, how many other people on Monday night in North Carolina are trying to improve their minds, develop more wisdom, more compassion, become this ripple effect for themselves and all those around them? It's huge. It's huge. And so now we have an opportunity to take all of that, what in Buddhism we're calling merit, all of that energy, all of that positive energy that we've just generated, and dedicate it. And in the dedication, we must remember that we're included in that. When we're wishing things for others, we are part of that. We're an essential part of it. We're the ones that just created this energy, this merit. So we want it to ripen, we want it to manifest in the highest way possible for ourselves and others. And so you came in with a certain intention, and think about if you accomplished that wish. It might have been as seemingly small as getting more information, becoming less stressed. As we just saw in the video, the effects of even that, of even becoming less stressed, less tense, having more flexibility, seeing more options, being more patient, even on a very mundane level, the ramifications, the effects of that, the positive. And how that builds, how as our mind becomes more flexible, patient, open, we can learn better. We can develop all the things that we just listened to Robert Thurman talking about. Can become wiser and wiser and wiser. So now Linda is going to read Shantideva's prayer, which is, you can either meditate as we read this, or you can read it together. And this is an incredible way to dedicate the merit that you've just created.
And if you're going to read it, it's on page 32 in the Gold Prayer Book. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may these never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone online.
Thank you.